What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over my first steroid cycle, fact or cap. Now, I've seen some of the most outrageous, ridiculous claims on the internet that I was doing some trenbolone sandwich and DNP and 12 IUs of growth hormone for my first cycle, and that is why I'm left with these ridiculous scars. But guys, my first cycle was not that intense, and it just shows that this acne could happen on your first cycle. You could fuck up your entire life on your first cycle, even if you do everything perfect. I'm gonna go over my dosages, I'm gonna go over my PCT, I'm gonna go over the duration that I did it, and I'm not gonna leave anything under the rug because I want you guys to get as much information as possible, so I hope this never happens to you. Weighed myself, I'm 216. We're gonna get a quick physique update in, cook some breakfast, and well, let's see what we're looking like. I like how my body's like coming together. My weight is like about 20 pounds heavier than I want it to be, but everything's slowly coming, and we got like just over 30 days until we leave, so I busted open kind of a new pack of GW. Just don't tell anyone, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be me and you, little secret to get these little extra pounds off and make sure I'm looking absolutely fucking shredded, my guy, for the trip that we're about to go on. So I'm gonna take some GW, I'm gonna get on my spin bike, I'm gonna do about 35 minutes of cardio. Been doing 35 minutes of cardio in the morning, 35 minutes cardio at night, because whatever you put into something, you will get out, and we have such a short duration that I just wanna push it and kill it, and I want you guys to do the same. So I'm gonna eat, and then I'm gonna go over my exact first cycle and the dosages I took, and just clear up the misconceptions online. Let's go! Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thank you for tuning into another video. You won't regret it. Oh, let's get into this uncut, uncensored, just pure fucking truth, because that's what this channel's about. On my first steroid cycle, fact or cap. Now, I did also throw a Q&A up on my Instagram, and we're just gonna blast through those questions at the end of this video, right after my workout, so make sure you stick around because we got some juicy ass questions. But let's get into this fact or cap. So, fact or cap, Mark, you started taking steroids way before you should have. This is a fucking cap, my guy. I started taking steroids at 19 years old, which I think in the bodybuilding world is not young. Because in the bodybuilding world right now, we're looking at windows of like 23 to 33. You have a 10-year window to give it your all before you need to retire and your body starts fighting against you. So me starting steroids at 19 years old with my pure goal, ambition, and heart into making fitness my overall career and just be my absolute fucking beast of a self was not too young, and I don't think that is too young to start a cycle. Yeah, your hormone levels definitely are still kind of on the whack and higher than they ever would be, but to make a career in fitness in the untested side, it's kind of a necessity on what you just need to do at that age. Fact or cap? You had shit skin during your entire fucking life. This is a fucking cap, guys. I actually had great skin all through school. I mean, I had a few acne in like grade 11, and then it cleared up completely in grade 12. Right after high school, I had perfect fucking skin. When I was training for Worlds, naturally, I had perfect fucking skin. When I started taking steroids, I had perfect fucking skin. And when I went on steroids, I had perfect fucking skin. And now I have all these fucking scars because when I came off my first cycle, even though I did a PCT, guys, I just broke out like crazy. And I did everything right. I was overlooked by an IFBB pro. And sure, there are some things that I know now that probably could have prevented this. But from a general, regular person, this should have never happened. But it did. And that's why I want to just be straight up with you guys on what I took, the dosages, and the PCT I took, because it could happen to anyone, and that has to be something you're willing to do and risk by taking these chances. Fact or cap, you were abusing steroids and you did not take a proper PCT when you came off them. This is a fucking cap, guys. Guys, I started off on 500 milligrams of testosterone enanthate, 500 milligrams of EQ, and 20 milligrams of Novadex every day. Now we'll start with the Novadex, because you'll be saying, why the fuck you were on Novadex during your cycle? For me, it didn't really make that much of a difference. Looking back at things now, I probably would have done like 0.5 Arimidex every other day and just kept the Novadex for my post-cycle, but fuck it. It made no difference to me. An anti-estrogen was an anti-estrogen, and I had no side effects to begin with, and I just had tons of Novadex already on hand, and I was a broke 19-year-old trying to fucking make it in bodybuilding, so I was trying to save some money. 2, 500 milligrams of testosterone nth and 500 EQ is not a crazy dose for anyone, especially if your goal is to compete in bodybuilding. Now you guys, some people out there are taking like 250 milligrams of testosterone and saying that you're on a steroid cycle. Bro, you ain't on a steroid cycle. You're just injecting slightly more than your body would produce naturally. If I'm going to start taking steroids that shuts my body down, I'm gonna make sure that I take like 10 times the amount my body would produce naturally, because I'm not gonna waste all those side effects and possibilities of negative things happen for like a 2% gain. But with that said, I never planned on going higher than 500. Steroids doesn't work by increasing your cycle each time. It works by taking a cycle, maintaining it, taking another cycle, maintaining it, taking another cycle, and then your genetics do the rest. Some people will just get as Big Ramy, and some people, like the fucking people you see in the gym, take gear and don't even look like they train. So I mean, that just is the facts of life. Fact or cap, you didn't even know what you were doing, and that is why you broke out and got that side effect. To be honest with you, this one's kind of true, because there's several things that I could have done differently to probably prevent that acne from happening. Now, mind you, I don't know if I would have ever done this because I didn't think I was prone to acne at that point, but if I did more frequent injections that would have had my testosterone and estrogen levels by sitting at a more level lane, as well as tapering off the dose when I came off cycle, instead of going from 500 right to my PCT, I probably could have prevented that cystic acne, especially for how long it persisted after my cycle. Fact or cap, you didn't do an aggressive enough PCT. Now, I'm going to say this is kind of borderline down the middle, because I did 5,000 IUs of HCG, Clomid, and Novadex. I did not cheap out on anything. But with that said, I didn't do the dose of Clomid I think I was supposed to. Clomid is actually supposed to be taken at like 75 milligrams to 50 milligrams, even 100 milligrams. I think I only did 25 milligrams of Clomid, which realistically probably did nothing. And right now, when I come off cycle, I'm doing 10 to 15,000 IUs of HCG. So I definitely could have been more aggressive coming off the cycle. But with that said, it was also my first steroid cycle ever. And I got blood work done, I think, 4 weeks after that cycle. And my body was completely back to normal. But my acne stayed for over 7 fucking months. So that is kind of everything I saw on Reddit so far with these fact or caps. The biggest thing too, guys, is I never took SARMs first. I knew that I wanted to be a bodybuilder, and I knew that SARMs, as good as SARMs are, will never get you to a bodybuilder standpoint. You would never take 500 milligrams of LGD. You'll never get the same results from steroids as you would SARMs. The only reason I've tried SARMs is because I thought they were cool, and I was really interested in seeing what they did. So on the times that I came off steroids, and I didn't have to go on cycle, because as you guys know, I would only do like 1 cycle a year. I would do like a quick like 6-week rad cycle or like an 8-week LGD cycle right before summer or right before like a beach event, just so 1, I could see what would happen, and 2, I could see if this was actually legit. So I never mixed SARMs and steroids, and I do mix like GW and SR9009 with steroids, but I don't really mix like RAD or LGD with testosterone, just because if I wanted more testosterone, I would just take more testosterone. I wouldn't burn out my receptor by taking something that I could just increase my testosterone dosage for. So I never did the mix between that, and that was kind of the only other thing that I saw on Reddit. So I'm actually going to get up. We are going to go fucking train. I'm just going to set up a tripod today, and I'm going to take you through the entire workout kind of educational style and do a voiceover. Now, if you don't care about seeing these juicy ass fucking gains and you just care about the Q&A from Instagram, just skip to this time and it'll bring you right to the Q&A. But if you want to see these juicy gains, then just fucking hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the gym.
And welcome to another voiceover, guys. I start off by taking 2 dry scoops of Gorilla Mind Nitric. Make sure to use my code if you want to hook it up. I've been trying to cut out caffeine just because, I'm pretty cracked out 24/7. So we start off this chest day by warming up some rear delts, some shoulders. I actually did some bicep curls, some tricep extensions, and some pull-ups. I've been training chest every 3 days. Now my chest is a severe lacking point of my body, so I'm really trying to increase the frequency. I basically do 1 super heavy day and then I do 1 light day. This is my light day where I kind of do odd exercises that really get my chest pumped up. So the first thing I do is I go into an incline press, but I do these 1 arm at a time. Not only does that help flex the chest that I have with my arm fully extended, but it also gets rid of any imbalances, and I can really focus on contracting the chest and squeezing it as hard as I can at the top. Now I went up to 100s here, and I just did the most random pattern. I didn't have anything in mind. Sometimes I do 2, sometimes I would do 1, and I would just constantly flex my chest. And guys, I've never felt my chest more ever than having 1 arm up and then coming through the top. And then I kind of just do a whole bunch of burnout sets towards the end and like partial reps because I mostly train alone. I go into a super incline press here, but I kind of sit sideways and push all the way up. This gives you a ridiculous pump on the inside top of your chest. You can even see I'm kind of poking it there with my finger just to make sure I can keep constant tension. Now I go into a crossover, but I like to just hook my hands in it, which completely takes my arm out of the movement. And I like to do what Sean Ray did and cross them completely over, like I'm almost giving somebody a big hug. As you can see, the weight that I used for all of these exercises so far is super, super light. The biggest thing I'm trying to think of is just keeping my shoulders out of the movement and really squeezing all of my chest. You can kind of see that I still have a little bit of gyno here, but it is a lot better because I've been doing this experiment. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to make another video next week on it, and there's some pros and some cons. Right after I do those, I supersetted each set with kind of this low, most muscular fly. Again, today it was just about pumping as much blood into my chest as possible, so I felt like I had a little more energy after I did the crossover, and I wanted to just pump it up and superset that even more. Don't be scared to just throw random things in if you feel it's going to help, especially on days you're just trying to pump blood as much as possible. I go into another fly here, and again, my bottom chest is probably my weakest point, so I really want to work on the definition of the outer line of my pectoralis. So I do a pulse rep at the bottom here, so I go down, I come up a little bit, and then go down, and then do a full rep, and then I superset that with dips, but I don't fully extend my dips because I'm not trying to work my triceps. I'm really just trying to give that chest like a bulk wide look. So as you can see, I'm kind of working my way up from the top down. Started off with a whole bunch of inclines and then went into some flies, which will work that outer line. And then I go into basically the exact same thing as I did before, but just on a machine and a machine, where I do flies, go into dips, and then I do flies and dips. I kept all my sets about 3 to 4 sets, but I had all my reps go around 12 to 20, and I supersetted this almost back to back to back to back with no rest. I was in and out in about an hour and 10 minutes, and my chest was absolutely obliterated.
Alright, so I'm not going to bore you guys too much with this Q&A. I'm going to set a 2-minute timer. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can in 2 minutes. Let's go. Tren burns fat. No, Tren increases muscle mass, which I guess raises your base metabolic rate, so you would burn more calories, but Tren does not directly burn fat. How much muscle did you put on your first cycle? I put about 19 pounds on my first cycle. After my PCT, I retained probably about 12 pounds of that. Is it okay to run test cycle at a higher body fat between 18 and 25%? I think there's no issue with running steroids at a higher body percentage. I think these people that are saying you need to get as lean as possible to take steroids are absolutely off their rocker. But if you want to get the most out of it and have the highest insulin sensitivity and put on the most muscle possible, I would say you want to aim for 10% body fat to 15% body fat. But I see people use steroids at 18% all the time and get great results. What vitamins do you recommend when you start taking steroids? NAC, CoQ10, and a probiotic would probably be my top 3. Are you worried about any future health complications that come along with the first cycle? No, I was never worried about any health complications. I was getting looked over by an IFBB pro. I was rest assured that I was going to be looked after and taken care of, and I was following in the right footsteps. Do steroids increase pumps? Yes, so obviously steroids increases protein synthesis. It allows for more nutrient delivery to your muscles, so when you eat more carbs and you can get more nutrients to your muscles and break down more muscle tissue, in essence you will get bigger pumps in the gym, you'll feel better, and then that's why you start to look better. How I feel when I'm on PCT. When I come off everything, I do believe it's a full mental game. You do get like a little bit tired and sluggish, but if you're getting super depressed, that's probably a mental thing. You can definitely kick yourself out of that. All mental health has to do with your mental state, and you can rewire anything to believe what you want. Do steroids actually make you more aggressive? Yes, they do. It is a mix between steroids and dieting. Now, I don't usually go on steroids without dieting. So like being in a calorie deficit, kind of already hungry and irritable, and then you add steroids to that, that's where you get angry. A test-only cycle would show up on a law enforcement drug test. I can guarantee you if you're a cop, you can take steroids. I know probably 40 cops that take steroids. I probably know 10 of those cops that sell steroids. This is in Canada. This is in the United States of America. Again, they are not testing for steroids in the law enforcement. How much arimidex did you use for 500 milligrams of testosterone a week? Personally, I use 1 milligram every day, but I just like to be on the safer side, and I convert very easily. I say for an average person, 0.5 milligrams every other day would be perfect for 500 milligrams of test. What were your lifts before and after your very first cycle? So completely naturally, I squatted 576 pounds, benched 370 pounds, and deadlifted, I think, 615. You probably have to correct me on that. Those were my numbers when I was 18 years old, completely natural, weighing about 190 pounds. After my first cycle, I think I was squatting into the 6s, benching into the 4s, and deadlifting close to 700. First time ever pinning, what was your reaction? Were you scared? Did you have someone else do it? I actually went over to this IFBB pro's house and he watched me do my first injection. After that, I realized that it was actually a joke, and now I do my shoulders, my legs, my glutes. I've even done my biceps. You can really do any muscle group that you can fit a needle into and you're good to go. You're kind of overthinking it and you can't really fuck up an injection. And if you are scared about fucking it up, my Patreon has a how to inject course where I actually show you guys my injection spots and how I do about it. You can sign up with that in my Instagram, first link in my bio. Anavar only cycle. I'm not really a fan of Anavar only cycles just because you never really keep a lot of your gains. Again, like I said, steroids, you want to get better, maintain, get better, maintain. When you guys do SARM cycles, Anavar cycles, yes, they are really good to look good temporarily and they have virtually no side effects. So if you're trying to look good with no side effects, then make sure you do orals only. But if you're trying to be competitive in the sport and you want to maintain as much gains as possible, you are going to have to use a testosterone base. Last question, how bad is trend cough? Trend cough fucking sucks. I've only had it like 3 or 4 times in my life. It's basically where you inject and you hit a vein and tren gets into your bloodstream and you just start coughing and you cannot stop. It's a dry cough. You feel like you're gonna like throw up, explode. It's the worst feeling of my life, of anyone's life, if you've ever had that happen to you. But I hope that kind of answered as much questions as possible. If you're not following my Instagram, I'll do these more frequently and I won't do it in like 2 minutes. I'll do a full video of just answering your questions in depth. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're still watching, you're my real ones. Thank you so much for all the support on this channel. Without you guys, there is no channel. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, tell your moms, tell your dog, tell your grandma how fucking lit Mark Plummer is, and tell them to come subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.